Okay, everyone, thanks for joining. Today is a national public holiday in Italy, so I am replacing Salvatore. And I think today is also a national holiday in India, and so we're missing quite a few community members today. There's only one topic on the agenda that I am aware of. I think Lan wanted to discuss some feature gate graduations for Antrea V2 release. So Lan, do you want to cover that topic?
Yeah, sure. Let me share the screen. I just like to share the issue which I listed the feature gate. You know that we are preparing the 2.0 and in the last release, we already covered the API promotion. And for now, I think it's time to, promote the feature gate. And here, at least I think this is an actual copy from an issue which created by the trend. And I just update a few comments, and some of them has been promoted, and which you see this is checked, then we can ignore them. For now, I think we have two features. We think I think Antony replied in the comments, and Chuan also think this is they are ready for GA. So I'm hoping that there's no objection in this meeting if we plan to promote them to the GA stage. And next, actually, I like to I just like to show the features which we like to promote, but we need more discussion before promote them. And there are also some maybe we are not so sure about them. For example, this one, and we have already promoted the API to beta, I think. But if we promote the feature gate to GA, it might be confusing for the user. So this is a one thing we may need to our maintainers and the community members to raise their your thoughts or any ideas about this. And the trees flow, I think there's a one ongoing task about to add the first and sampling feature. So I'm not sure, maybe it's not good candidate for GA. Yeah. For other feature gates, most of them we like to promote them to beta, but let's see what team's suggestion or any thought for this.
My thought is that I'm confident Agile policy of Agile proxy and endpoint slides could be graduated to GA because they have been used widely and have been enabled by default. And for any newer feature, like for DSR support, we have a separate feature gate to control its enablement. So the core features of Antrea proxy, I think, is relatively stable, and we in the last few releases we have fixed significant number of bugs, and normally just corner cases. So that promotion would make sense to me. And for endpoint slides, because the upstream API has graduated to GA already, and we have also enabled it by default for several releases, and most of the code is copied from the upstream one. So I'm confident about that too. But for the others, I don't have enough confidence to promote them to their next stage. For service external IP, I think I just met an issue that external IP was not released after I removed the annotation when I was testing something else, but I haven't found an issue. But my point is this was not really well tested and verified in production. So I'm not confident to promote this feature. And I do have another requirement from users that they want to make the external IP could be shared across multiple services. And I'm still working on it. Yeah. For other features I'm familiar with, Level 7 policy, I think it's not time to graduate to beta because we still have some known issues, like when using this feature, user must disable offload, checksum offloading, which may have impact on the performance of data plane. So before that problem is resolved, I think maybe perhaps just to keep it as alpha. I'm not very familiar with the others.
Sorry. The last feature you are talking
Last
about is
policy. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think perhaps we could create one, well, or we use the original issue which introduce the feature to track the preconditions to graduate, so we can add our opinions and track how they are adjusted and whether they meet the preconditions to graduate separately. Yeah, I mean later. Yeah.
Okay. So I think we all agree that we can graduate these two to the J stage, and the following items maybe we need more discussion and also need to resolve those bugs, right? Okay, thanks, Tran. I think we still have 4 items which we are not covered. Any other team members like to, bring up your thoughts about these features if you are more familiar with this?
Island. So yeah, I feel the same way as Chen about the first two, Antrea proxy and endpoint slice. I also agree that for the others, I'd rather be a little bit more conservative. I guess one that's interesting is Flow Exporter, because Flow Exporter has been around for a long time, and we've been talking about graduating it to beta a few times. I do feel like maybe there is no rush necessarily, even though there isn't a lot of risk, because it can still be disabled in the config, obviously. I feel like we're still working a lot on the Flow Exporter. Recently, we added support for TLS. There's still a lot of changes going on in the Flow aggregator, and I know that Yunteng is working on a different mechanism to collect connections in the Flow Exporter on the agent. I also feel like, I know we did quite a bit of, I think there was some scale testing done already, but I feel like I don't know if I'm 100% confident that we should graduate it to beta at this stage, because I don't know if we have any stories of anyone using it really successfully in production yet.
Okay, so your suggestion is we may keep it at alpha stage?
Yeah, unless someone disagrees with me, I think that we should probably keep it in alpha a little bit longer.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. Okay. Anyone has a comment for another three items? I think yeah, I saw Wenyin on the core. Maybe you are more familiar with external node and support bundle collection.
Yes, actually for external node, we have two issues reported about the integration on the cloud, especially observed on the Azure platform. It is because of some customization on the VMs on Azure cloud. So maybe sometimes the external node feature are not working as expected. So I think that's maybe for external node, we still it should be better if we still keep it in the alpha stage before we can make it more stable or more feasible to be customized for different special configurations on the cloud. And for support bundle collection, I don't think the CRD need more changes, but by now we only support SFTP as the protocol to upload the bundle files. I'm not sure if we have any plan to support other protocols like S3 or some other storage. If so, I think maybe we still need some code changes for support bundle collection. But if we think that if the maintainers think that SFTP is enough for this feature, maybe we can bump up the stage.
Okay. Do you see any requirement for other protocol or SFTP meet customers' usage?
By now, you may know that the support bundle collection feature is proposed because of the external node scenario, and we always use the external. At least some users may use external node to manage the cloud VMs. So from the cloud perspective, I think some cloud specific storage like S3 is more popular. So I previously I have thought that maybe we could think about either support for such storage protocols like S3, but we don't have enough time to implement it. So I just think that from the feature itself, maybe it should be better if we can support many more protocols as the uploading solutions. That is my thought.
Yeah, okay. Got it. Thanks. Maybe we can have more discussion about this since we think that we may have more enhancement for this one.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. IPsec cert authentication. I'm not sure.
Sorry,
I'm not sure.
sorry, just for one interrupt about the external. The issue was on Azure, not AWS.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, sure. Are you going to?
Yes. Yeah. So for the AppSec certificate auth feature, I don't think it is widely adopted. So currently the default encryption mode is still the pre-shared key instead of the AppSec certificate. So I think we might need to switch the default mode to certificate, and then we can consider to promote this feature to beta. Yeah.
You mean change the default certificate to this one, right?
The default encryption mode is PSK, pre-shared key for the moment. Yeah. So it means that this feature is not enabled by default.
Okay.
Even uses IPsec. Yeah. So I think this feature is not widely tested.
Okay.
Sure. I feel if PSK is always the preferred authentication way of IPsec, maybe I'm not first. I'm not sure whether it is which one is the preferred way, but I mean graduating this feature to beta doesn't require the default way to be changed in Antrea, because we should always make it the really preferred way in production in the industry and uh, I feel if this feature doesn't have scale concern or doesn't have complicated logic, maybe we could just consider its maturity to see if it can be graduated, or we could do more testing about it. No real, because it's not enabled anyway. So, but if it will not enabled anyway in the future, then it does. We don't need to have this precondition. Yeah. I think we have many features that will not be enabled by default. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so
I
maybe
think
we can do more tests about this feature and then consider to promote it to beta.
Yeah. I think you can raise an issue and to show what what test you have done, and how what's the risk you think there could be, or there is no risk if we promote it to beta. Yeah. And
Sure.
so we can.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, okay, thanks. I think please help to create an issue for this so we can follow up after the meeting.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. I think that's all for the future gate promotion
Lan,
topic. Yeah.
Quick question about the Antrea proxy feature gate. So that's something I commented in the issue as well. I was assuming we would add like a configuration toggle as a fallback to disable Antrea proxy, or is that not something we plan to do?
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. I also had similar comments, but I talked to Lan directly. I didn't left the comment. Yeah, I agree that we should have a feature. We should have a config toggle to disable Antrea proxy completely for users who prefer Q-proxy, especially Q-proxy IPv6 mode, which has some more load balancing algorithm, I think.
Well, it's not a feature gate toggle. It's a Boolean parameter in the.
Okay.
We have. I think we have the Antrea proxy configuration section, and under that we have like a Boolean parameter for proxy all, and we have different parameters as well. So it would be a new parameter in that section.
Okay. So is there already a toggle for Antrea proxy, or we need to add a new one?
No, we need a new one, but there is already a configuration section in the in the config map. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember there was also an issue that if a user using an older kernel version which doesn't have net module support for OS, Antrea proxy will not work, and the user was using Antrea without Antrea proxy enabled. Yeah, even it is enabled by default. We had an environment variable to disable it, I remember.
Yeah, okay. I think that's would make sense in this case to keep a toggle or add a toggle for the features. So I suppose for all the GA features, we should have one toggle for this, or we treat different features in different way.
Well, I think it depends. For example, for endpoint slice, we don't need a toggle because it's just an API.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there seems no point for user to prefer endpoint API.
Mhm.
Anyway, we have fallback logic. If endpoint slice API is not available, you will use an endpoint API instead. So you should not care about this
Mhm.
this behavior.
Yeah, okay, got it. Thanks. Okay, I think that's from my side about the topic. I'm not sure if there are any other topics. I will stop sharing here. Any others have any comments or suggestion for this topic? Okay, if not, I will stop sharing. Anthony, I will hand over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Len, for the presentation and walking us through this topic. Yeah, I'm not aware of any topic on the agenda, but if someone wants to discuss anything, please bring it up now. If there is nothing, I can give like a couple of like very quick updates, more general updates. So one update I'll give is that Go 1.20 has been released last week, and so sorry, Go 121 has been released last week, and currently in Antrea and the Antrea sub-projects, we are using Go 119. So Go 119 is no longer maintained because Go is maintaining the most recent two minor versions, so 120 and 121. And so we're transitioning to Go 121 for Antrea and then all the Antrea sub-projects, so SIA, Nefe, Antrea UI, and so on and so forth. It's not a very disruptive change, but there's been some couple notable changes since Go 119, and there are some nice to haves as well. For example, they added new functions to the Go standard library to operate on slices and maps, which leverage Go support for generics. So it's very easy to look up a value in a slice or compare slices in Go 121, and you no longer need to write custom implementation for this. So that's one update. The second update is, well, this is not something that is affecting us right away, but you guys may have heard that HashiCorp has decided to change the licenses on their most popular projects, most notably Terraform and Vagrant. So the CNCF is currently discussing what's going to be the impact on like CNCF projects, and VMware is also looking at and other vendors are also looking at the impact of the license change on their products. And so I believe that we use a little bit of Terraform scripts in Antrea. I think they used Terraform possibly in Nefe as well to provision some cloud infrastructure. So we may need to look for alternatives in the future. We'll see what the CNCF guidance is when it becomes available. I will note that there is no change. Fortunately for us, there is no change in the Golang libraries, which are provided by HashiCorp. For example, in Antrea, we rely heavily on the member list library from HashiCorp for features like egress in particular. And so the license for that library is remaining as before. It's a MPL license, which is a Mozilla public license, I think. And so there is no implication for us there, which is good, because if they had changed the license, we would have had to remove our dependency on member lists probably. And that's it for my updates. Any questions or comments on this? All right. And any other topics that anyone wants to bring up? All right. So I think we're gonna end the meeting 30 minutes earlier and give everyone some time back. Thanks for joining, everyone. Have a good day or have a good night, and I'll see everyone in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Bye.
Tony, for hosting the meeting. Bye.